Welcome back. Peace has returned to Enugu Kingdom in Nkanu East local government area of Enugu State after a 25-year-old communal conflict. The clan had split into 3 autonomous communities owing to power and land tussle amid the unpopular freeborn and slavery dichotomy. As part of celebrations over the truce, members of the community paid a visit to the state governor, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, to thank him for brokering peace. Our correspondent, Nkiru Ajogu, reports.
Enugu Kingdom, one of the ancient communities in Nkanu East local government area of Enugu State that has since broken into 3 autonomous communities such as Oruko, Umoje, and the newest Agripa Oruko as a result of communal crisis. It's also one among 77 communities in Nkanu land, doubting the ancestral origin of some members of their community and fighting for supremacy of leadership and land ownership in the unpopular and unspoken freeborn and slavery controversy. The 25-year-old crisis is said to have claimed lives and properties as well as damaged relationships.
Nigerian. I was in Enugu State.
After several failed attempts by both military and civilian governments, the state governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi gets a breakthrough in restoring peace to the community. Members of the community are here to show appreciation to the state governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi.
We started cleaning ourselves. No brother again. Now we started seeing orphans and widows. Thank God, you're an honest man, you saw it. You came, you saw, you conquered.
Even though
what both the military and other civilian governments did not bother with, you took it upon yourself, and today we are one.
For other members of the communities, further steps should be taken to ensure the peace lasts.
We must move forward. Peace brings development. Peace brings love. Peace brings understanding. Peace promotes culture. Peace promotes harmony and social coexistence.
If we are far from each other, if we are scared from each other, we cannot come together to reason on a particular thing. So it is for us to come together and unite.
Thank you. This unprecedented effort by the governor is appreciated by religious bodies and other concerned groups and individuals, with expectations that the affected communities will protect the newfound peace and hand down same to generations to come. Nkiruka Ajogu, Channels Television News.
Yes, and Mawodo now with business news.
You First. First Bank.
Thank you, Amarachi. Welcome to Business News. We begin with the Central Bank of Nigeria reporting the country's manufacturing activity trending slightly higher at 0.3 to 57.5 reading in the month of July that ended yesterday. The Purchasing Managers Index report shows the new orders and raw material indices grew faster, but for production level and supplier delivery time, as well as employment level, it moved at a slower rate last month. The same report reveals the Nigerian non-manufacturing index at 58.7 for the month of July, floating around the same 60.0 reading touch since December 2018. Non-manufacturing new orders and inventories grew at a faster pace during the month, but business activities and employment level rose at a slower rate. UK's Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index remained at 48.0 in the month of July, and that's unchanged from the month of June, marking the third straight month that the majority of businesses reported a fall in output. It is closely watched, and PMI's lowest level since 2013, Now, that's February 2013, which shows the sector suffered the ongoing headwinds of Brexit uncertainty and a global economic slowdown. According to that survey compiled by IHS Markit, the sluggish orders were partly due to some clients transforming supply chains away from Britain in advance of Brexit deadline. The reading also suggests that the PMI stayed below the 50.0 neutral benchmark for the third running month, hitting a 6.5-year low. Away from those reports now, British oil giant Royal Dutch Shell's profits plunged to its lowest since 2016 due to lower oil and gas prices. The oil firm reported 25% slide in the second quarter of this year to $3.6 billion, and that's below expectation. The firm has blamed the setback on challenging macroeconomic conditions in refining and chemicals, as well as fallen oil prices. Nigerian Breweries PLC has announced a disappointing earnings also for the first 6 months of 2019, with headline revenue showing a 1.4% decline, but profit line items are even worse. The brewery giant reports gross income decline of 5.8%. For headline profit, it fell 29.5% and to 19.41 billion naira. Net profit came lower to 13.31 billion naira. That's about 27.8% over the same period last year. Drilling down the earnings report, the company's borrowings increased 33.1% in the first half of this year to 56.6 billion naira, while for cash and cash equivalents slumped 13% to 12.8 billion naira. A late rally from MTN Nigeria has saved the day for domestic stock market as trading sentiments begin the new month with a moderate recovery from a 2 consecutive day downturn. Let's hear more from BC Adebayo.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Reports. The month of August kicks off on a positive note for listed local equities on the back of share price rally from the NSE's second most capitalized stock, MTN Nigeria, with support from the consumer goods sector. This comes a day after the telecoms giant announced that it has secured a full financial services license from the central bank and also applied for another payment service bank license. The all-share index staged a 0.11% moderate comeback, but still in the 27,000 region, while total value of listed equities recovered 15 billion naira from Tuesday's loss. However, performance on the price table recorded a negative margin of 12 gainers, led by a 9.76% advance by Fitton Healthcare against 16 losers, led by a 10% drop from Eternal Oil. Meanwhile, on the activity chart, total volume of shares transaction dropped by over 154 million units to 97.35 million in nearly 3,000 transactions, and that was led by the trio of Zenith Bank, UBA, and Lafarge. That's it on the Stock Market Report. I am BC Adebayo.
Thank you, BC. Well, we hope the positive sentiment continues throughout the month of August. Away from our shores now, President Donald Trump said that the U.S. is putting 10% tariff on $300 billion worth of Chinese goods with effect from September the 1st. The surprise tariff announcement is coming after the U.S. and China restarted trade talks in Shanghai this week, and that's the first in-person trade talks since the G20 truce. The trade war between the world's two largest economies has dragged on for more than 1 year. Meanwhile, the statement from the White House says that trade negotiations with Beijing will continue in Washington in early September. And let's check out global major markets around the world. Indexes, they have ended the first trading day in the month of August slightly mixed and even stronger earnings. And the surprise report that U.S. will impose additional tariff on Chinese imports. Let's see how they all ended today. And that's Business News Tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Anne Nwaudu. The rest of the news at 10 continues with Amarachi.
You first. First Bank.
Thanks, Anne. On the foreign scene, Rwanda has reopened its border with the Democratic Republic of Congo several hours after it was shut on confirmation of a third death from Ebola in the city of Goma. At least 2,700 people have been infected in what is considered the worst outbreak of Ebola in the DRC's history. The WHO says 12 new cases of Ebola are reported every day in the DRC. Here's Simon Pusey with other international news in Around the World in 5.
Good evening from the Channel's newsroom here in London. The former Vice President Joe Biden has come under attack from other Democratic 2020 candidates in a televised debate in the USA.
It looks like one of us has learned the lessons of the past and one of us hasn't.
Mr. Vice President, you didn't answer my question.
You can't do it when it's convenient and then dodge it when it's not.
There were sharp exchanges on healthcare and the southern border between the frontrunner and 9 other hopefuls on stage in Detroit. The candidates also launched attacks on Mr. Biden's record on race before they each summed up why they should be chosen as the Democratic candidate to take on Mr. Trump.
The first thing that I'm going to do when I'm president is I'm going to Clorox the Oval Office.
We need to do the opposite of much of what we're doing right now, and the opposite of Donald Trump is an Asian man who likes masks.
So, Mr. President, let's get something straight. We love it. We are not leaving it. We are here to stay, and we're certainly not going to leave it to you.
At least 32 people have been killed in an attack on a military parade by Yemen's rebel Houthi movement. The parade in the southern port city of Aden was targeted by missiles and an armed drone. Aden is the seat of Yemen's internationally recognized government. The rebels say the military parade was part of preparations by pro-government forces for a fresh assault on Houthi-held territory just north of the city, but the government said it was a graduation ceremony for newly recruited soldiers. China's People's Liberation Army in Hong Kong has released a video showing footage of anti-riot exercises. The 3-minute video posted on the Hong Kong's garrison's official Weibo social media account included footage of troops firing guns and rockets and of light tanks, attack helicopters and missile launchers. The PLA has remained in their barracks since protests started in April, leaving the police force to deal with the massive and often violent protests. On Wednesday, 44 people were charged with rioting, the first time the authorities have resorted to using the rioting charge in Hong Kong. Israeli soldiers have shot and killed a Palestinian after he crossed the border from Gaza and fired at troops, wounding 3 of them. Israeli military say one of their tanks targeted a post belonging to Hamas, the Palestinian armed group that runs the Gaza Strip. Israel claimed an assailant fired at the troops after he infiltrated the security fence along the Gaza frontier. Israeli troops then responded with fire towards him, resulting in his death. 1 officer was badly injured and 2 other soldiers were slightly injured as a result of the attacker's fire. The German rescue vessel Alan Kurdi has rescued 40 migrants from an overcrowded blue rubber dinghy 29 miles from Libya. Among the migrants rescued was a pregnant woman, 3 small children and a man with a gunshot wound, and also 2 people who had survived the bombing of the Tajura detention camp in Libya, which killed about 50 people 3 weeks ago. The rescued migrants came from Nigeria, Mali, Congo, Ghana, Libya and the Ivory Coast. The skipper of the boat crossing the Atlantic with the climate activist Greta Thunberg has described her as amazingly courageous. Swedish climate activist Greta has accepted a ride across the Atlantic by boat to attend 2 key climate conferences. The teenager will make the journey aboard the Malaysia 2, a high-speed 60-foot yacht built to race around the globe. Thunberg refuses to fly because of the environmental impact of air travel.
Of course, she's amazingly courageous to say, yes, I want to try this, and I sacrifice a lot of comfort to do it with as little as possible emissions. Our own ambition is really to help Greta to solve this problem, and we are in a very special situation that it's our job to sail around. We have this team set up, we have this boat, and so basically we just had to change our agenda and our sailing itinerary to be able to offer this. And so that was really our main focus. And of course, we are conscious about climate change.
And finally, the second Malaysian-born giant panda finally has a name. Yi Yi, meaning friendship, is 19 months old, and her name was announced at the Giant Panda Conservation Centre in Kuala Lumpur, with China's ambassador to Malaysia, Bai Tian, in attendance. China has been sending their black and white ambassadors abroad in a sign of goodwill since the 1950s as part of what is known as panda diplomacy. The lease agreement with Malaysia was part of celebrations marking 40 years of diplomatic ties. And that's your international news around the world in 5.
Thanks, Simon. Still ahead on the news at 10, Super Eagles forward Victor Osimhen joins French side Lille on a 5-year deal worth $15.5 million. More coming up in sports news. Stay with us.